What you're seeing right now is a high fidelity F16 model from an excellent book called Aircraft Simulation and Control by Stevens and Lewis. And what this model enables me to do is to take the examples out of the book and fly them in a simulator. Now, I was asked by a PhD student to make a quick video to show how to set this up so that he could do this as well. And so I thought I would do that and post it for everyone else to enjoy as well. So hopefully I can get some collaborators out of this and we can work on this together. Now, I'm going to assume you know absolutely nothing. So if you feel I'm going too slow, feel free to skip ahead or just go directly to my GitHub link in the description and have at it. Big shout out to the creator of the primary flight display I use in my repository, Pablo Escudero at MIT. Thank you for making this software and especially for making it open source. Let's get into it. All right, so the very first thing, if you have not worked in Git before or worked with GitHub, is I would install Git. And this will allow you to stay up to date with every change that I make or other people make on the GitHub repositories that you use. So we'll go to Git install, go to Windows if you have Windows, otherwise you'll be using something else, Mac or Linux, and I will click here to download, and then I will download and install Git. And when you download Git, I would just click through next, 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 and make sure you leave everything as the default setting. There are a lot of options here, and it's best to just not make it confusing. And installing, great. All right, so your journey to download this Stevens and Lewis F16 model environment here, pull some sick virtual Gs, all begins with clicking the link in my GitHub and going to this page and cloning my GitHub repository. So you can just come here and click copy to clipboard. You can then go to a command prompt or git bash, and I'm going to clone this repository, and I will clone it into my C directory. So go up to, and then we'll go C. And then I have a folder called Git. Maybe I typed that in wrong. All right. Oh no, we're already in C. cd git. Boom. So now we're in Git. And now I can clone this repository into here. So run git clone, and then copy or paste that repository link. All right, so that's all cloned. And now let's look at the README for the subsequent steps here. All right, so going back to my GitHub repository here, you see on the first page it has the README and it tells us the steps that we need to take in order to get everything working. So first thing it says on here is to download Python 3.9.7. You can probably use whatever Python install you have, but if you want to save yourself a little bit of a headache when it comes to version control, this might be your best option. So let's go into there and then let's get 3.9.7. So we scroll down until we get to 3.9.7. There it is. And let's install the 64-bit version for Windows. Great. Run this. And then very important step to save yourself even more headache, click add Python 3.9 to path if you don't already have a version of Python installed. One quick thing I'll add right here is if you want to check to see if your Python install worked, one thing you can do is type in Python and then do capital V, and that will show you the Python version that you have. So if it says 3.9.7, then you are good to go. All right, so the next thing it says on here is to download Visual Studio. And I also use Visual Studio Code, so you can download both of those from this same link. So let's go to there and let's get the community version of Visual Studio. All right, and then the download starts, and so we can save that and start our Visual Studio setup. Click on that. All right, so it starts by giving us the Visual Studio installer. All right, and the only thing I'm going to click on here is Python development and C++ development. And that should be pretty much all that we need in order to get this working. If you want anything else, feel free to add it. But I believe that's all we need. So let's hit install. And then we'll get that Visual Studio install going. All right, so on this page again, you can just scroll down and then you see Visual Studio Code. This is the development environment that I use. So let's just use that for this example. So we'll go there and we'll download Visual Studio Code. And for Visual Studio Code, I just use all of the default settings. So just click next, 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 and install. You should be good. All right, so now I went to my File Explorer and I opened up the repository that we cloned into there earlier. And if you already had the command prompt open, then you can just do this straight from there. But one thing that I think is easy is just go to click on that top bar in the File Explorer, and then you can open up a command prompt in there, and then you just hit code and then space dot. And that will open up Visual Studio Code from that directory. All right, so you can see that we're in my Stevens and Lewis repository here. The first thing we're going to need to do is to get our extensions. And I can tell already that VS Code remembered my extensions. So we're going to make sure that we install all the ones that we need. So one that you will certainly need is the Python extension. So get the Python debugger and the Python extension, and then also Python environments. So just click on those and then you'll see an option to install it. So install Python debugger, Python, get Pylance as well, and then Python environments. All right, so now we need to create the virtual environment, python-m vnv.vnv, and that'll be what the virtual environment is called. And then we need to activate it. So go into .vnv scripts / activate. And so once you have that activated, you can then install all the packages by typing pip install-r requirements.txt. All right, so once you've installed all your packages, you can then go into the scripts folder and run this main.py script here. So you can do that by clicking F5. Make sure you have this .vnv 3.9.7 there. That means it's using the correct virtual environment and Python version. So you can press F5 or you can hit run and debug, and we'll do that right now. So it's loading up. And then boom, we are flying a frickin' F16. I got my joystick here. I got it all the way to the side like a freaking Air Force pilot. And so let's do some quick banks. Pretty good roll controllability. Could dive down and do a little, let's do a loop here. So we're diving down, picking up speed. I'm gonna start this loop at 450 knots. We're gonna dive down a little bit here. Trying to do a loop at a high altitude is not smart, so we're gonna get a little lower. Much less efficient in terms of your power to weight at high altitude. So we're going boom. Almost no roll off there. Wow, look at us. Coming down the hill. And here comes a G squeeze. Ooh. Just kidding. All right. Cool, flying an F-16. All right, I think that is long enough for an intro video. I don't want to scare anyone off because it's really not that hard to download and get this going. In the next one, I will go through some of the code here and some of the examples and functionality that I've built into this repository. So if that sounds interesting to you, then jump over to the next video.